Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Dev Mentor Dave channel, streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. If you are watching on one of those channels live, jump in the chat, say hello, ask your questions, whatever it is that you want to talk about. We will at least attempt to talk about it. We're here usually every Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon. Central United States time, and then also most Monday through Friday afternoons from 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central United States time as well. And again, as always, this time is for you. Yes, I have a plan, either a topic or something project related that we'll work on, but really this is for you guys, specifically for junior developers, but also for mid-level, senior level developers. If you have questions, if you have things that you want to discuss, or you want me to discuss, jump in the chat, say hello, drop a question in there. If you're writing a question to me, write at DevMentorDave before it. That'll just put a little box in front of it. Let me know that you're trying to get my attention. Otherwise, feel free to chat with others who might be in the chat at the time as well. So, welcome again to another Saturday. I think last Saturday I had to do something. I forget what it was, but I couldn't jump on here live last Saturday. So we're gonna dive in most likely into the stuff that we are gonna look at last Saturday, and we've been building a project very slowly, and it's a project for myself. I don't know if I'll actually use it, but I am looking at potentially some more speaking engagement opportunities, and the goal of the project is to build kind of my own software that allows me to create content and put that content together so that I can share it in speaking, but then also make sure that I'm staying within specific timelines, not necessarily just a total timeline, but a timeline for each section, just to make sure I'm not going overboard. Because I tend to be a little extemporaneous when I speak at times, and so I can definitely get outside the the allotted or the time that I've allotted for myself. So there you go. So that's something that we'll probably dive into today, some more, and look at some more functionality that we want to add to that. We've got just kind of the basics in there as far as presentations, presentation sections, things like that. We need to start working on kind of the speaker view of that. So that's probably what we'll work on today, as I think most of the other stuff is at least basically there. There's some things that I definitely want to change and tweak, but we can deal with that as we go. Hey, Ming, good to see you. Welcome to the live stream here on Saturday. And let's see, I don't think I saw somebody poking around on YouTube before we got started, but I don't think they're there anymore. Yeah, all right. So feel free to jump in either chat. We've got chats on YouTube, we got chat on Twitch. So whichever one is your preference, jump in there, say hello, join the conversation. Feel free to disagree. Feel free to tell me that I'm an idiot. I'm okay with that. It doesn't matter to me, because you might be right, quite frankly. So there's that. Yeah, see, that's the nice thing about being on this side of the camera and having the power. I can just say we're not going to talk about that. So there you go, Ming. No matter how much you want to do, you can debate all you want in the chat. Nobody, I don't have to care about it or even acknowledge it. So there, that's always fun. Let's see. So me ask a question for a startup. What are the bare minimum management needed in order to hire a junior? Oh, that's a good question. The bare minimum management. So I don't think this is necessarily even just a startup question. I think this is a question for any company that wants to hire junior level developers. Because let's be honest, a lot of companies are drawn into the idea of hiring junior level developers because they're cheap, right? And I've seen companies over the years hire juniors and kind of spit them out. I wouldn't say always intentionally. I don't think they intend to do that. I think they just don't know what they're actually doing with that, and so they tend to expect too much and provide too little. So I think, to answer your question, it goes back to that reality, right? So what should the expectations be for both sides? And if you can't If you don't have the people in place to provide the expectations or to manage those expectations, then you're not going to have the right number of people. A lot of it also has to depend on the startup itself, the timeline, the project that it's working on. Excuse me, the something on my tongue. The runway that they have from a financial standpoint. So this is a hard question to just say it has to look like X, but I'll give you some general guidelines. You need to be able to ensure that you can provide adequate mentoring so that not just be nice to your junior dev, right? That's not the goal. The goal is not necessarily just to be this awesome place where junior devs grow. That's great. But at the end of the day, what you're really looking for as a startup or as any company when you hire junior dev is you're looking for them to grow so that you get more out of them while they're still cheap. Man, sorry guys. Yeah, something's like plastic or something. I don't know what it is. But and I don't say that to be mean. I'm just saying that from a business standpoint, that's the reality. One of the great things about mentoring junior developers is they don't cost as much as a senior developer or even a mid-level developer. And just because they may make the gains to mid-level developer doesn't mean that you have to pay them as a mid-level developer. You can pay them, especially if you give them a plan. Man, I think that's the best opportunity, is to work with a company that says, here's our plan. We're going to pay you this much this year, and then every year we're going to give you an increase of X amount as long as we're seeing your progress, move in a specific direction. That allows the company kind of to control their costs. It allows them to help you as a junior developer grow in your earnings. But if they were to go out and hire somebody, let's say you're there for 2 years, if they were to go out and hire somebody with the same skill set that you hopefully have obtained in those 2 years, they're going to probably end up paying more for somebody on the outside than somebody on the inside that they've groomed and brought up. Now, it would be great if companies would just make it even, but it's also hard to evaluate that too. So there's a lot of caveats with all of this. And again, I'm not saying that companies are wrong to do it this way. I'm saying this is one of the reasons why a good company that mentors well would do that, right? It actually does save them money in the long term if they have the setup to be able to do this. So you need to have the financial ability to support having somebody truly be able to mentor that junior dev. And it's gonna be hard to mentor more than a couple of junior devs. The one that I did years ago that kind of got me into this whole path of mentoring, I was mentoring 2 junior devs. That literally did take up probably 50% of my time. It might have actually taken up more than 50% of my time. So from a management standpoint, from a business setup standpoint, you have to recognize that, especially early. Now that was early on, right? By the time we were a year in, that amount of time had shrunk dramatically. I would say I probably went from 65% of my time down to maybe 20% of my time in about a year. And the reason why it went that quickly was, well, first of all, they were encouraged to learn and grow, but I was given the flexibility to give them what they needed, but also the flexibility as their manager to kind of push them out of the nest a little bit here and there as well. And they did a great job learning. I don't know how much credit I can take as a mentor, but they did a great job learning. And within a year, they were largely self-sufficient. And that really was the goal. And I think that should be the goal of most mentoring programs. Once you've learned what you need to learn, you get into a mentoring program, it should be about a year of on-the-job mentoring that should get you really to a place where you mostly are self-sufficient. All of us are going to have questions about things. All of us are going to need help. But a company that wants to mentor junior developers has to understand that that's going to come at a cost. Most importantly, it's going to come at a financial cost because of the time cost, and they have to be willing to allow that reality to take place. They have to be in a place financially for that to happen. So, for example, if you're taking specifically a startup, they're going to need to be a startup that has the financial capability to have somebody who knows what they're doing, who knows how to mentor junior devs, and still be productive on the flip side. But they're probably going to need another person at least to be able to be working while the other person is not working, while the other person is helping with the junior developer. So I would say for a startup especially, I probably wouldn't hire more than one junior dev until you see what that process looks like and refine that process. You're probably going to need at least two senior devs and one junior dev. Maybe that means the senior devs both mentor, maybe just one of them mentor. It totally depends on how you want to set that up. But if you're going to make progress, you need to do that. Again, a large part of that goes back to funding. So a startup that has a lot of funding, they can get away with bringing on some more juniors and some more seniors to be able to do that. And they're probably going to have a larger team anyway. The thing to keep in mind, though, with a startup is you're going to need to have the finances to get past a year. Like you probably want 2 years, maybe even 3 years of finances set up if you're going to go the route of trying to mentor junior devs right away. I don't usually recommend bringing junior devs into a startup because of that reason. The idea of using a junior dev is very intoxicating because of the cheapness of a junior dev. The cost is very low, but you're going to that cost is going to be balanced out in lack of productivity by your senior devs, at least for the first 6 months to 8 months, maybe even up to a year. And so what you're losing, what you're gaining in financial savings, you're losing in productivity. And that's not because junior devs are bad. That's just a reality of the learning process, of the mentoring process, right? So again, not against junior devs and not necessarily against them working on a startup. I just think it's probably not best from a startup's perspective overall over time. I would much rather see junior devs get into an existing corporation or even an existing small business where they have some flexibility for mentoring and the timelines are not as big of a deal, especially like an internal company where yes, maybe they're rebuilding their own product. Yes, there's going to be timelines, but at the end of the day, it takes what it takes, right? And having a client that understands that reality is really huge, because most don't, which is why, especially in a startup, I mean, they're trying to get to market. They're trying possibly to beat other companies who might be trying to do the same thing or similar things. So there's just a lot of issues around a startup specifically that I wouldn't want to throw a junior developer into right away. So I wouldn't necessarily do it there, but I think at bare minimum you need a manager over that, whether that's the CTO, CEO, however that's structured. You need somebody that understands how to structure those relationships in such a way that they still get the maximum productivity out of it. Again, minimum, I think you need 2 seniors and the junior. That's bare minimum, and that's really not going to get you moving too quickly. Over time, it will pick up. After about 6 months, you're going to really start seeing the junior dev probably really contributing. You'll see them contributing over time, but that 6-month marker is probably a good indicator as to whether or not the mentoring's working well, whether or not the junior dev is growing in their independence, things like that. So hopefully that answers your question adequately without being too vague. All right, let me jump back here. Ming says there's a myth that AI can do 99% of junior tasks. What's the whole purpose of hiring them when you can hire mid-level at a bare minimum? For me, there's a couple of reasons why I would hire junior developers. One is just the philosophy of understanding that the mid-levels are going to become seniors are going to become retirees at some point, and somebody's going to have to know not just how to use AI but how to actually write code and figure out when AI messed up. And that's there's never going to be a need for juniors in the industry. The reason why I think a company should do it is, in many ways, you can, if it's done well, you can build loyalty from the very beginning, by giving proper mentorship. You can, again, as I was saying before, you can kind of lock somebody into a process of raises that maybe is not as steep as just directly hiring mid-level developers. The learning curve is not really that long. Again, I would say the bulk of the learning curve is 6 months, with good mentoring. So anywhere between 6 to 8 to 12 months, you're going to start seeing them really become independent. And at that point, to me, independence is the mark of a mid-level over a junior level developer. So if you're willing to put in the time with a junior level developer, then you get them to the point of a mid-level developer within a year, in my opinion. Now, there are realities of knowledge and experience that, not having as broad of an experience may be a differentiating factor there between a mid-level and a junior level developer. But I think you can get there fairly quickly with good mentoring, as opposed to going out and trying to find that through a hiring process. Again, it's almost, you're growing your junior devs, right? It's kind of like the feeder system for the MLB, right? They've got multiple levels, AA, AAA, things like that, where they start you off. Nobody gets brought in, nobody gets drafted into the major leagues. They get drafted into an organization, and that organization brings them along and helps them grow in their career and their skill set, things like that. And that takes time. But and a lot of them don't actually pan out, especially in that industry. But the reality is you've kind of built in, you've got contractual things with that, but you can build in loyalty, you can build in a knowledge and a willingness to do things the way that you want to do it as a company. There's lots of different ways that people manage projects around the world and around the United States, even in Kansas City. Like, there's lots of different unique attributes from one company to another, including the way that they want to write code and want to organize code and test code and things like that, right? So by having can you hire someone and give them documentation and they follow it? Yes, absolutely. A lot of times, though, you'll end up getting some pushback over time from people who have other experiences who think their way is better. And again, I'm not saying that it's wrong to offer other suggestions. I mean, I've done that in the past myself. So that's not necessarily a bad thing or a wrong thing. But if you want to make sure that everybody that you're hiring is following your standards, hire a junior dev and teach them only your standards, right? So you kind of get more control over what they're going to know, what they're going to use, how they're going to do things. So it really, there are many nuanced reasons why you would want to hire a junior developer outside of just the cost. And I think it's good to do all of the things. It's good to hire senior devs. It's good to hire mid-level devs. It's good to hire people from outside your organization, because they do bring in different perspectives that you might need to change a direction that you need to go. But junior devs give you a solid foundation of people that you have mentored, that do things the way you want them to do them. And generally, if you give good mentoring to someone, they are going to be loyal to you. Now, what's interesting about that statement is they will be most loyal to the mentor, not necessarily to the company. So the company that I worked for, where I had the opportunity to mentor, I still have a great relationship with both of the developers that I mentored. I actually went out to lunch with one of them a month and a half ago or so, a couple months ago. So somewhat recently. We don't talk every day or anything like that, but I still have good relationship with those guys. They'll still hit me up with questions about things from time to time. So I believe they're both still in the industry. One of them was moving more towards management slash lead role, I think, at one point. But there came a point in time where the company decided to make decisions that were not great decisions. They were fine decisions. They had a right to make those decisions, but they didn't really even talk. They didn't consult the people who were going to be the ones dealing with it. Me specifically as the lead developer, and then the other developers as well. Like there was no conversations with the tech team, and it was a complete shift stack wise from everything that we had been working on for the last year. And so all of us eventually left, but both of the junior devs left largely because everything that they had learned, well, I should say probably 60% of what they had been learning over the last year was unusable in the new system that we were being told we had to build, the new stack that we were being told we had to use. And while I would generally encourage people to learn new things and to look into that, we had been very heavily involved in the mean stack, and this was moving back to a lamp stack basically. So very, very different overall architecture and things like that. And so I told the guys, I said, look, I would encourage you that you can learn this. I think you've learned a lot of stuff. I think you can learn this. However, if you don't feel like you want to spend the time, you want to pursue something else that's probably more with what, yeah, it wasn't React, it was Lamp. If you want to do something that's more in line with what you've been learning so that you can continue to build on that foundation, because it only been a year, right? So I said you might want to look for something else, just at least for now, at least for the short term, and then learn something else later on. And I know one of them for sure actually has moved on to .NET since then. So they weren't stuck in the mean stack by any stretch of the imagination. But the loyalty that they have was not to the company because the company was not loyal to them. The loyalty that they had was more to me because I was the one interacting with them. So that is something to think about when you think about loyalty. The junior dev has to understand and see that the company is the one who is pushing the mentoring. The company is the one that is desiring to help them grow, not just this other developer. And so that's why, again, going back to asking questions to a company in the interview process, as far as what does that look like when you're doing mentoring with junior developers, what does that process look like? That's really important to ask questions about because they help reveal whether it's a company thing or whether it's something that the company just allows. Whether the company is just okay with senior devs helping junior devs, or if the company is encouraging it and pushing it to ensure that junior devs grow into their ecosystem. So I think I got a little bit off track there based off the original question, but that's the way the mind works. We kind of go all over the place everywhere. And Ming keeps talking, so I have to figure out what in the world he has to say. There's an interview process for a junior role at a big organization. The training plan was really well structured. 6 months of training and mentorship on the training program, plus certificates needed for some parts of the role. That's good. They gave you time to really learn and be mentored. This was the ideal company I was looking for. Yeah. And again, usually a more corporate, large organization is going to have the finances to be able to pull that off. The question is, do they actually stick with their own plan? And that's another part of that question. So is that a self-driven plan? Like you guys just give me access to Pluralsight or something like that, and I got to figure it out on my own? Or is there a specific process that they've successfully seen other people go through? That I think is a great question to ask. How many junior devs have you mentored through, and is there anybody that I could talk to get their perspective on that process? I mean, if you've successfully mentored multiple people, you should be able to use them as references as a company, right? So I think that's perfectly fair to ask. If they're touting their mentoring process, ask for references of their mentoring process. You know, I would almost even ask for references of somebody who no longer works there, just to see, you know, if they why the person left. Maybe it was just to get a better job, more pay, or something like that. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair question to ask. They may or may not oblige, but I think it's fair, right? I've been to so many startup interviews and Flex that they have funded over $1 million, but they don't invest in training, mentorship, and juniors, considering that they have at least 2 seniors at minimum. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, $1 million, to be frank, doesn't go very far. Um, if you're hiring senior, depending on where you are too, like if you're in Silicon Valley, it really doesn't go very far. Uh, but even here in the Midwest, let's say you hire, you know, several senior developers for, um, let's say $120,000 a year. You know, that's just their salary. That doesn't include benefits. Let's just round it up. Say total cost of a senior developer is 150. You know, two is 300,000. Three senior developers is $450,000 in cost. Um, Also depends on whether you're providing equipment and things. You know, let's say so that's $350,000. Let's say the company's providing equipment and they're all MacBooks. Let's say they're getting decent MacBooks, $3,000 a piece. Times three is 9. We'll just say round it up with tax, $10,000. So you're at $360,000. That's just developers. Then you probably need at least your COO or CEO or somebody else who's managing the developers who is probably going to be more around the 150 range. So now we're at $510,000. So I mean, we've very quickly eaten up half of that $1 million budget, and we're not even talking about junior developers mentoring. Um, so for 1 year. So I think it's important for us to understand that, you know, and it's important for startups to understand $1 million does not last very long when it comes to development, especially if you're going to develop quickly and have good developers. That's just a reality. That also doesn't include any QA. Doesn't include um, any salespeople. If there are salespeople on board at this time, there's just a lot of different pieces to a company um, that can eat up $1 million really quick. So in terms of budget, junior is advantageous, but comes at a cost to nurture them, develop them into a mid-level, so that there's less stress on management when it comes to deliverables. Absolutely, and you have to plan for them to take longer for whatever it is that you assign them to, and that also means a lot of times you're assigning. So, so here's another problem, right? So because of that, what often happens is junior devs get assigned the easiest, most boilerplate type parts of the project, which means they often are not really being pushed to learn and grow. But you can't give them harder things to push and learn and grow because they take longer to do that. And so you have this vicious cycle, right? So that's part of the issue is mentoring requires giving somebody harder and harder things so that they grow in the process of becoming a mid-level developer. But that also means they're going to take a lot longer than a mid-level or senior level developer to do that thing. And that's something that we have to really be careful of and make sure that we're also including in that process. Not Dan. Ming says the last startup, I wasn't close with the CEO, but the lead devs I got with really well. Although it was unfortunate, I was like, oh, he still wanted to help me out. Yeah. And again, so that's the other piece I was talking about. So it's one thing for a developer to be really mentoring you. It's another thing for the company to have a plan and a process and a desire for you to be mentored by that developer. Because if they don't have that in place, then they'll cut you faster because you're taking up his time. That's how they see it. 1 year development isn't long, but you can definitely pick up another stack easily. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think they could have, and one of them did, I think, within the next couple of jobs. So, yeah, and I wasn't worried about them learning the LAMP stack. I wanted them to be aware of what they're going to be getting into. And both of them, I think, got raises when they moved on. So there you go. I did too. 1 year, let's see, the training plan for the junior role at a large organization. You worked very closely with the lead dev for 6 months. Probably a lot of paired programming, things like that. After that, the training and mentorship continues till you're fully proficient in independence. Yeah. And I think that can look differently across the board, right? It doesn't have to look like one specific process. You can, the goal at the end of the day is independence. So it could be, that goal could be much shorter these days with the help of AI. Not that I would lean too heavily on AI, but it could definitely be shorter because of that. So, all right. Just a reminder, if you're watching live, jump in the chat, say hello. If you want to talk to me specifically, since we've already got somebody in the chat, feel free to write at DevMentorDave at the beginning. That's both on YouTube and on Twitch. So if you happen to be watching live on YouTube or Twitch, feel free to jump in there and join the conversation. And I think we might get to some other things here just in a little bit. All right. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's so Ming says the lead dev gave me priceless advice I'll never forget. That's the reality of mentoring, right? That's the beauty of mentoring, is we have an opportunity to share information that I thought maybe Dan. I keep looking down and seeing that there's 3 viewers. I'm going, I bet Dan's in here. He's just being quiet. I did accidentally call your name though, so I can't really see who's there on Twitch, but there you go. Good to see you, Dan. I had a feeling that I could feel it in the force that you were there watching in the shadows. So wait till we have a debate. Oh no, here we go. No, I'm just gonna have to, at that point I'll just ignore the chat and I'll just start doing my other stuff here on the other side. So anything that you'd like to throw in there, Dan, based on the conversation or based on the monologue I was just going through? It's not really a conversation until there's actually like back and forth. Ming was giving a good starters phrases, not necessarily conversation. And Angular's like mayonnaise. Or maybe mustard. For me, it'd be more like mustard, because I actually like mayonnaise. I don't care for Angular. I'm just waiting for the next big framework to come out that makes everybody think that React and Vue are dumb. Functional programming, or OOP. All right, we're getting in trouble now. We got the troublemaker. Troublemaker has found a victim. All right. Again, if you're watching live, say hello. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button. We don't really, Twitch doesn't really have like a like button or anything, do they? Outside of the followers. So that is one thing I miss about the YouTube streaming. So that's the real reason we're streaming on YouTube. I need the validation from the YouTube likes. Let's see. Yeah, juniors are an investment. Your company either believes in them or not. Yep, absolutely. You just took like 30 minutes of monologuing and put it into one phrase. Well done, sir. Well done. All right, I am going to jump over here to... Oh, that's weird. Hang on. My face is oddly positioned in the circle. There we go. Pop over here. So this is where we left off. It's harder to sell bringing in juniors in this job market when we have created where people only stay with the company 2 or 3 years. Yeah, that is very true. That is something that I hadn't really thrown into my my thought process either. That is true, that you definitely see people not staying very long. There we go. You definitely see people not staying very long, and that's been that way for a while. But especially with juniors, and I don't know if there's really a good like contractual way that you can do that. Um, I I would think at some point there would be some sort of contractual way that you can keep somebody obligated. Um, but I'm sure people have tried that and probably haven't held up in court, most likely. Especially in places where you have like um, an at will process for uh, or rules and regulations for employment. So yeah, I don't know if there's a great way to handle that, unfortunately. Uh, so yeah, but I guess I for me I feel like if you're treating a junior dev well and you're giving them decent pay and they're progressing within the company, like you actually have a career path for them. I feel like the reasons for jumping ship are much fewer at that point. And I think that's where most people don't think through that part of it, or they don't have a plan that is updated right with the current times. So I think there's multiple pieces to that issue. Um, I think you can retain talent. Um, I've seen companies retain talent perfectly fine, right? So I think a lot of that comes down to, are you willing to do the things that retain talent versus um, just trying to get by with the bare minimum. uh, yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of times they jump ship mostly for pay, but oftentimes it starts off more than that, right? Like they're not being appreciated in some way. So I think it's easy to say that it's just pay. Pay is a good motivator for somebody who already has the desire to move on. So I think that's really the key, is what is the desire to move on? Where's that coming from? And you know that I think makes a difference. So okay, Dan says first, our industry has been too eager to give out the senior title. There are almost no mid jobs out there in the title. You shouldn't be considered senior after 3 years in a junior role, but that's what you often see on LinkedIn resumes. That's interesting. Yeah, um, that's very true actually, and especially pay. There's an assumption that 3 years you should start be getting senior level pay too. All right, so here's our presentation software we've been working on. Um, this is the Wrap It Up software, as I've named it. We've got some basic CRUD that we've developed here for presentations. We can go into a presentation. We can edit the information that we can see the sections that are part of the presentation. So the next thing that I want to do, and we can edit those as well. We can go back, got breadcrumbs up here. I never was really a huge fan of breadcrumbs, but I'm becoming more and more a fan of breadcrumbs, uh, especially the more nested things are. So I didn't get that complex into a lot of things in a lot of my career. So anyway, so I want to start today thinking in terms of the actual presenter view. Now, the presenter view, I think, is going to be one where I don't want to have the whole app layout. I want it to be very sparse. Breadcrumbs are good for deep frying. Nice. Well played. I want it to be fairly sparse except for the presentation itself. Um, but I think I'm going to want to see. I don't know. So I have some thoughts, and this is where really taking time to plan things out would be really good, and generally advised. But we're not going to do it, so we might come back and refactor some stuff later on. But I think eventually I would like to create something that allows me to build slides into this, whether that's pulling them in from another system or whether that's creating them inside of this. Maybe even, looking into creating slides based off of the content with AI. That might be kind of fun. Um, Shoot, man, I just gave myself a good idea. Okay, so somebody take notes. We're going to, at some point here, we're going to build, not this week, probably. We're going to build slides and we're going to make the content based off of the sections, the content that are in the sections, and we'll use like a ChatGPT API to do that. This is getting much more complex than I originally planned. Okay, it was just about timing, but now we're building out a whole platform for this. Yeah, I know. But here's the deal, Ming. There's lots of platforms out there. I want to build my own thing to do it my way. I do it my way. So there's that, and hopefully nobody will clip that section and mock me for that. Okay, so we've got a presentation. We've got presentation sections. MVP. Oh, you're so right, Dan. You're so right. See, it's so easy when you've got these crazy clients, man. They just come up with these crazy ideas and then they screw up your MVP. See, the problem is I am both the developer and the crazy client at the same time. All right, that'll be phase 2. Phase 2. We just might include phase 2 in the MVP. How's that? No hope. Absolutely. All right. So what I want to do first is I want to get a no nonsense layout. I think I still want this similar layout. Like I want the base layout, but I don't want to see this menu, right? I want this to be completely clear because I'm probably gonna want some things over here. Like maybe over here is where I'll have my timer, and this will just be like my header, my content, things like that. The other thing that I want to do is I want the content to be, it's going to come back from the back end as an array, and I don't want to just show it all linear, right? I want to be able to like page through the content, and I think I'll actually put the pagination up here and make this static. And I don't know if this is static right here. Let's do this. Let me just see if this is static. We'll go over to our code. What are we in? Presentation edit. So if we go down to our if we go down to our pages in here, let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. So we got our pages in here, presentations, edit. So here's our presentation edit. Let's go back here. Give me 4 paragraphs of lorem. Oops, it's probably not spelled correctly. Oh, it is. There you go. All right. So actually, I probably only need one. We're just testing something here. So let's come in here. Here's our app layout. Let's do div, paragraph, boom. Save that, see what we get over here. Oh, what? Hang on. Presentation, edit. Oh, let's create. Haha, helps if you're in the right thing. Okay, hang on. Let's kill some of this stuff. Boom, 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 boom. What is this? Why is this? Oh, because we just did that. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Get rid of that. Okay. Let's open presentations edit. Now down here. Oh. Go back. Oh, come on. Stop. There we go. Okay. Now save it. Okay. That's not very big. So we'll do this. Yeah. We'll just do a bunch of these. There we go. Okay, so now we've got content. Okay, yeah, so it does not stay sticky. Interesting. Because I like this layout, but I want the stuff inside here to scroll rather than the stuff inside here. So, but I don't necessarily need that in the other layouts, just for the one that I'm creating. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go look at our app layout. Pages, layouts, layouts, app layout. So app layout. Let's do this. Let's do new file, speaker layout.view. Pop that in here. It's pulling in a client. Okay. So it's pulling in this app layout from components, or wait a minute. Hang on. What's going on here? App layout.view. What is this? I'm confused. App sidebar layout. Layouts app. Oh. Look at this one. App sidebar layout. Okay. So confusing. Okay, so we've got app sidebar layout. Let's take a look at this. App header layout. Breadcrumbs. So we probably need app sidebar. We probably need 2 of these. So let's do this. Let's copy, and in here we'll paste and rename this to speaker. All right, and inside here we've got we'll rename this to we're renaming this to speaker header layout. Speaker header layout and speaker sidebar. Speaker sidebar layout. Okay, so then in here we can do I'm confused. Hang on. Oh, they just renamed it. Okay, speaker layout. This is so weird. Why wouldn't you just use sidebar layout? Okay. Sidebar layout from speaker. And this is speaker. If I can spell it right. All right. This guy goes here and here. Bada bing. Okay. I don't know why they would rename that. Unless there's something, hang on, is there something in here that's exporting it differently? I don't see anything. That's just very odd. I wonder why they did that. Because they renamed it to the same component that they have here, which doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. So the app sidebar layout. App sidebar, that's fine. I don't care. App content, app sidebar header. Okay, so here we're going to go. So this, hang on. Well, we're going to change that anyway. So this will be, what are we calling this? Yes, we're going to have lots of technical debt. That's right. Good call, me. Let's see. So we did, what do we call this? Speaker sidebar header. And this is coming from speaker. Probably just do this. Import speaker sidebar header. There we go. That'll be faster. Nope. Speaker. I'm so confused. Hang on. App sidebar header. Where did that come from? Why am I editing this? I don't want to edit this. Okay. That's not what I want to edit. So app sidebar header comes from Components, app sidebar. Oh my goodness. What is that? Components, app sidebar, header. I think I'm missing something here. Let me go back. Speaker sidebar layout. So let's look at that. We got slot, speaker sidebar layout. It's coming from here. And this is pulling in app sidebar, app content, app sidebar header. I think this is actually what I want to change because this is probably overflow X. Yeah, this guy right here. So I don't want the content. I want app sidebar header slot. What's coming in here? So let's look at our app layout again. Slot coming in here. App sidebar layout. App content. Okay, so what we let's look at app content, see what's there. So we've got sidebar inset and main. Class name main. Interesting. Let's go back over here and just take a look at this guy. So we've got our header inside main. All right, sidebar inset, inside header inside main. And main is what has our border. Okay. Interesting. But main is inside the sidebar wrapper. Right? Main's inside sidebar wrapper. Display flex. So this whole thing, okay, so what I really want is I want this to be scrollable in here, but not this out here. So if I want to do that, maybe I wonder if I don't do See, this is the interesting part. I got to figure out how I want to do this. You know what? I can deal with that later. That's not a big deal. I'll deal with that later. Let's just get the view up. All right, so let's get a page. And we'll do okay, so let's do it's just a view page, so we'll do speaker dot view. All right, so speaker dot view is going to be our main page here. So let's go with breadcrumbs, app layout, head, dashboard. So placeholder, what's this? Oh, this is the dashboard. Let's look at presentations, index. This is more what I'm looking for. All right, app layout. We'll copy this to speaker layout. Nope, to speaker.view. And let's close this for now. And we'll close that for now. We'll get rid of all of this stuff for now. Oops, there we go. And we're actually going to want to do import speaker layout from speaker layout. There we go. Copy that. Boom, boom. And these guys we can ignore for now. All right, so we've got a page, speaker.view. Let's add a route, web route. So, well, all right, so let's add a controller first. So controllers, in here, So we'll do speaker controller .php. All right, so let's just take this guy. I'm a huge fan of copy paste. Come on. All right. Bada bing. Speaker controller. Nope, don't need to do that. We can go with show. So we'll go with show. We're gonna inertia render speaker. Actually, we'll just do. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Speaker layout pages. Speaker.view. So it'd be speaker. And we won't pass anything in at the moment. We're just going to try to get it to load. So there's our speaker in here. Let's do something like speaker view. There we go. Okay, so we've got a controller that's going to render our view on the show. So let's go back to our. Oh, we need to change this. Hang on. App models. Well, we don't need this right now. Controllers. This is the speaker controller. I think that's good. Okay. Let's go back down here to our routes and web. And we definitely want to stay inside our auth. So route controller. We want speaker controller. Come on. Prefix. Well, I don't think we want prefix. Let's just do group. We might add other things to this in the future, so we'll make it a group, even though right now it's not really. We just have the one. Let's see. So in here we'll do route get. And so this will be a specific presentation. But for now, yeah, we'll set it up. Okay, so presentation, show, name, speakers.show. Okay. So just for kicks, let's put another one in here just for the index, just to make sure that it shows. And we'll just point it to the same thing. Test show. Okay. So we're going to try to go to. Oh, we need to. Hang on. Speaker. Speak. So fine, we'll do a prefix. If I could type, that would be great. So then this will be that, and that will be this, and there we go. Okay, so let's see if we can even test this. All right, so we've got wrap it up, test, speaker, not found. That's not good. Oh, let's do. Let's try new tab, and we'll do PHP artisan optimize. That should clear the cache on the routes. Let's try this again. Oh, target class speaker. Oh, hang on. You need to actually import it. Import class. There we go. Try it again. What? Target class speaker controller does not exist. Speaker controller does not exist. That is incorrect. Speaker controller. Speaker controller. Speaker controller. Rename. Make sure it's spelled the same. Spelled the same there. I'm confused. It does exist. Controllers, speaker controller. I think you're confused, buddy. It's there. It recognizes it here. Speaker controller extends controller. Class prefix speaker. Oh, let's try optimizing it again just to be safe. App. What? I'm so confused. What is this now? App HTTP controller's presentation does not exist. Oh, hang on. Un momento. So we're calling presentation here, which we should, but for the moment, it does not exist. Well, let's just do this. Let's do this. Let's do speaker. 1. Do we have presentation 1? Oh, we need to include it. Hang on. There we go. Speaker view. Woo! So, all right. So we've got all that working. We've got our speaker view, and we're passing in a specific presentation. We could actually do that here. We weren't really. And we could show that. So speaker, let's do presentation dash title. Oops. Dash title. Am I missing something? What am I missing? Here's our speaker view. Oh, we need our props. Hang on. All the things. We need to define the props. And that goes in here. Presentation. All right, so that means this presentation title. This is JavaScript. It's possibly undefined. Sure. And it should be like this. Because we're JavaScript, not PHP. That might be helpful. Okay, let's try this now. Testing 1. Okay, so we can see our presentation title is coming through. We're going to need to do some CSSing here in a little bit, and that's fine. We'll get to that here in a few minutes. Okay, but we've got everything connected. We've got our presentation comes to this view. Let's go back and just remove. Why am I in windsurf? Go away. Let's just go back and remove the route that we don't need for the moment. This index route. Since we've got the presentation route going, very good. That's really what we need. Why is this complaining? Presentation.id. ID does not exist on type object. I don't care. I don't care at the moment. Oh. Well, we could add typing on the front. I'm just not that worried about adding types. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. So there's a thing coming out. I'll deal with types later. So there's a package coming out for Laravel called Wayfinder. And one of the things that Wayfinder does is it looks at your types, your models and things like that on the back end, and automatically when you run it, it generates the types for the front end so your IDE recognizes them. Very cool. Very cool thing, but we won't deal with that now. Maybe we'll add that later. Okay, so we've got this page at least working. So let's think about how we want to use things in here. So up here, I don't want presentations. I do want this. We'll deal with the sidebar here in a minute, but the header, I want to actually show the presentation title. So let's take a look at that. So speaker controller, nope, speaker.view, speaker layout, breadcrumbs. Title should be In here, do we have to do this? I think we have to do this. Oops, come on. Presentation title. And no href there. I think you have to have the href, but you don't have to have it filled in. So testing 1, very good. All right, so we've got our title showing up there. And then let's see. So inside our speaker layout, for now, let's just show each of the sections that are there. Let's see if our sections are even available. What's coming back here? Network. Rerun this. What in the world? Should be showing up here, I think. I have something filtered. It's using inertia. Interesting. Let's remove that. Rebuild. What do we got here? 1 response. Oh, it's all coming in routes, Ziggy routes. Interesting. I thought for sure there was like a page. I don't know. Weird. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's we can always console, well, oh, that's lovely. Okay, so let's do this. We'll just do the whole thing. All right, there's that. So we've got ID, title, time limit, created, update. Okay, so we're not sending any of the sections yet. So that's what I thought. I just wanted to verify it. So let's go back to our speaker controller. And inside here, we'll do presentation, load, sections. Oh, I don't need that. There we go. All right, so we're going to tell it to load the sections as well. Refresh this guy. Now we've got our sections in here. So we've got sections, which is an array. Beautiful. Okay. Excellent. So let's go to our speaker.view. We're going to do this. So we're going to do div. And we'll do v4 section in presentation. Yep. All of that stuff. Very good. We'll do the section. Oh, is this not here? I'm confused. For v4 equals. Does this have to be wrapped? That looks right. That does not look right. What in the world? Hang on. Come on. Show me a for loop in view. Oops. I think I hit enter too many times. Boom. Oh no, it's dying. It's crashing. New. Show me a for loop in view. What am I missing? What am I missing? I know I'm missing something. This is what happens when you don't code every day, guys. You lose stuff. I don't need all of this crap. Just give me the for loop. V4. Okay, there's no... Yeah, okay. That didn't look right. There's no parentheses. It's in this stuff. Okay, there we go. That's much better. Okay, so... somewhere in your controller routes, there's an endpoint mismatch. I don't know what that... No, it was the... I forget what it was. We found it. All right, so we should be able to see sections now. Yeah. This. All right, so here's our sections, with each of these things. Let's do. Oh, that's not what I want. Let's do. Let's add some class. Let's add some class to this. Sure, why not? That'll work. That'll give us some separation. Not a lot of separation. Why is that for? Oh, the first one's the presentation. We can get rid of that now. There we go. Okay, so there's that. Let's see. Presentation section ID. Presentation section. All right, so let's do section dot title. New test again. New one. All right, we're getting someplace now. Let's figure out. So I want these divs. So these divs will not necessarily be Here's the question. Oh, when you want the index. Yeah, that makes sense. Good call, Dan. Thank you. Let me see. So here's what I'm thinking. I want to be able to page through these, right? So the question is, do I find a slider with pagination functionality built in view and use that, or do I build it myself? Let's see what's out there. I'm not a big fan of building everything myself. Let's do a view 3 content slider with back and forth buttons. I guess I could have I could ask Claude to build it for me. I want to see if there's any decent packages. Carousels. It could be a carousel. Well, Gemini is trying to help me out here. Slides. Blah, 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 blah. Let's do this. Let's see. I've got Claude Pro. Let's close this out. And let's play with AI a little bit. How about that? All right. So we've got Claude in here. I'm going to first give it some context. Oh, we already have context in speaker.view. Good. So we're looking at this specific file. So in this file, I want the sections to be what's the words that I want to say? I want the sections to be here. Let me move. Move me a little bit so you can see what I'm typing. I want the sections to be what am I trying to say? Slider isn't very complex. I would use Claude over a library personally. Yep. To be, what's the word I'm looking for? Navigable? Oh, come on, really? I can't see. What is going on here? All right, let's try. Why is this being so stupid? Okay. To be navigable like a slider or carousel. The buttons for moving back and forth should be outside the carousel area. Now, here's something that I like to do with stuff like this is I will say, give me an example of how you would do this. Do this, but don't change any code. Oops. All right. Now, there's lots of other things I could probably add to this, be more specific with the prompt, but we're just gonna kind of vibe code it a little bit here. I don't really like calling this vibe coding because I'm being very specific in what I want it to do. Let's see. The carousel works by translating the entire track horizontally. Okay, so we've got speaker layout, breadcrumbs, blah 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 blah. Previous button. We got a next button, and then here's our carousel container. Carousel track, flex, transition. Okay, that's fine. All right. Import and speaker layout. What is this? Oh, this is just the script part of it. Okay. Do it. Prompt engineering then. Yes, exactly. That's the correct terminology. Let's see. I don't know if you noticed, but it moved the script tag underneath the template tag. So I'm anxious to see if it completely rewrites it like that. It didn't. That's good. Do you want to make these changes? Yes, do it. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Move this guy out of the way. Oh, come on. Seriously? Okay. So we've got current index value, props presentation sections out length. All right, we've setting the index value. Here's our buttons. I'm actually going to move the buttons inside the header, I think. We'll just have to see. We may have to do something different with the layout. So here's our container. All right, so we've got this. Let's just see if it works first of all. All right, here's our buttons. Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Nifty Kino. All right. I like it. I like it so far. It works. Let's do this though. What did it do? It did something. What is this? I feel like I already answered this with a yes. Oh, it was this change here. Okay. Instead of sliding, let's make the transition a fade out and in. Let's see what it can do with that. Let's see what it's doing here. All right. Opacity 0 to 100. Duration ease in and out. Okay, okay. I think that makes sense. Yes, make that edit. You notice, so when I vibe coded before, I chose number 2. Yes, allow all edits during session. That is a vibe coding thing. Here, I want to actually see what's going on. So we've made another change here to make this relative. So that's fine. I'm good with that. Because I want to at least check all the things that it's doing, right? I don't want to just let it do whatever it wants to do. Okay, so let's try this now. Boom, phase. Okay, now that's exactly what I want. I want something there. Boom, perfect. Okay, now. Perfect, this is what I want. Okay, so I'll have the section at the top and then I'll have the content below. Okay, so let's go back here, move this guy out of the way some. Okay, I will move the buttons here in a little bit, but maybe here in a little bit. We'll move the buttons at some point. But for now, I want to get the content in. So let's do... You know, we probably should add a WYSIWYG editor. Doggone it. This stupid MVP is getting bigger and bigger. Let me move myself back a little bit. Back over here. Maybe I should go up here in the top. Well, no, it's going to black the screen. There's no good place to put yourself. There you go. Okay. So let's... all right, for now, let's do div... We could do something like section. I don't need the description. I need the content. I think it's content. Is that right? This should be the first section. Yeah, okay. I need the content because I want the content to show up here. What if the content is HTML? Let's do this. How do I load view HTML into a view, into a div in view 3? View 4. Oops. It's like there is no view 4. Yeah. I mistyped it. Come on. Why do you have to do... Just give me the example. Ugh, I don't want the whole... You're using up my token, Spanky. All right. I don't want to copy that. I just want to view it. See, this is annoying. This is where having better prompts will make sure that you don't do things like this and get all this crap. Hey Gopher, good to see you. Welcome. Jump in the chat. Boiling the ocean. Yeah, exactly. Doggone it. Come on, stop. This is stupid. Stop. Okay. I don't see this is this is part of the frustration with AI, right? You got to give it more clear instruction. All right, this is dynamic HTML content. VHTML can be dangerous with untrusted content. Yeah. That's my content. We're gonna do it. This is strong name of content. Okay. I'm confused. I mean, this is cool that it can do this, but it's not what I wanted. So let's see. Where is the? It's just VHTML. All right. So I guess I do have to actually go to the content here and see what it's doing. V model. VHTML directive, text area V model, HTML V model, class HTML content, VHTML, external HTML. Okay, that's what I wanted. Whew, why is that so hard? Okay, so div, VHTML, and we're going to do section content. All right, and if we open this up, should still be the same. Very good. Now, if I stored, now here, here's some more fun. Let's go back to our presentations, edit. Well, we need to get rid of all that junk. Lorem ipsum. Where's our Lorem ipsum? It's on our edit. This guy. Did I mess something up? Am I missing a div? Yeah, okay. What now? Oh, it's this guy. Okay. All right, so that cleaned that up. Okay, so test again, edit. I don't think this is going to take H4. This is HTML test. H4. Probably won't even save it. Edit. Save. Okay, let's press probably should put a button to present this. Let's do that. Let's do up here next to the title. We'll do actually we should put it in multiple areas. So let's do over here under actions. Let's do index presentations. We'll add another action. Blue, blue, blue. This. Copy this one. Bada bing. This is speaker.show. That's what we used for our route, and presentation ID will be passed to that. And present. So from here, oh, what did we mess up? We messed up something. Route speaker.show, presentation ID, present, link. Oh, what is, come on. Something doesn't like something. Let's see what's going on here. Console. Route speaker.show is not in the route list. Okay, so let's come back over here. What is the command for that? The command for Ziggy. Let's just do PHP artisan route clear. Speaker.show is not in the route list. How do I update Ziggy routes? Routes with Laravel. I don't remember the command off the top of my head. Oh, that's taking a long time. Nope, 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 nope. Ziggy generate. That's probably what I'm looking for. That still doesn't like it. Speaker.show. Let's go back and look at our routes and see if I'm just using the wrong route. Web. Speakers.show. Ah, there's the problem. It should be speaker.show. Boom, there we go. Helps if you use the right routing. Okay, so let's present this. Boom, we're at our presentation. Awesome. That works. Okay. And this is HTML test. Is that in an H4 or is it ignoring it? This is the new one. That's not what I'm clicking on. It is in an H4. Ooh, okay. So let's change that back and edit. Test again. Let's change this to an H1 just so we can see the difference. Stop. All right. And well, we still need a present button here for when we make changes here. So testing. So we need to go to our edit. And let's put a button. Let's put it inside this H1. Well, we'll use a link. With href, we'll do speaker.show, presentation ID. I want a button. BTN button? Does that work? I don't know. I'm not real up on my classes. Buttons. What if I want to, yeah, BTN button blue. Is this getting overridden? Let's remove this stuff. I think we could do this as a, we can make a link a button, can't we? Let's ask Claude. Give me just the code to make a link a button. To make a link? Oh, I bet this might be a link attribute. Hang on. Nope. Let's look at this. Internal link. Define component, internal link props. Let's see what those props are. href, cache or tags, data method replace, href, cancel token prefetch. Nope. So it would have to be, so it has to be an actual button. All right, so make a link, a button. The Tailwind BG Blue. How about the link component in view with inertia? Let's see what it thinks about that one. It's using BG Blue. Do I not need the BG? Maybe that's throwing it off? Let's see. If anybody happens to know what I'm doing wrong, let me know. Link href class btn blue. Well, let's do this. Inline flex. We'll just copy this and see if it works. That worked. I guess I just needed all those other things. That's really annoying. Tailwind is so stupid. Let's see. I don't necessarily font small. Why is it so big? Oh, because it's inside the H1. That's why. All right, let's do this. Let's move it outside the H1, and we'll do this. We'll add inline flex to this. Let's see. That's better. Let's do in here. Let's do flexible between. Bada bing. It knew what I was thinking. Ha ha! That's why you use MUI. Yeah, sure. Okay, let's see if it works. It does. Excellent. I could put this back. Maybe I should make this a link to get back to it. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. So we've got our buttons and our sliding and all that fun stuff. Excellent. Okay. So here's our basic speaker layout. I think that'll be good for the moment. Everything is working as expected. I do want to be able to write content that's going to let me actually like visually affect things. Exactly. Make it work, then make it pretty. Especially when you're not good at making it pretty. Functionality, that's the engineer motto. Functionality over form. So that's why most of what we write is ugly, if it weren't for designers. So thank you, designers. Okay, so we will do something with the sidebar maybe next week. I don't think we're gonna have time to mess with it. I do want to look at what View 3 editors. Do, 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 do. MVP first, absolutely. Ooh, TipTap is Vue 3 compatible? I've used this on React before, but I've not used it on Vue. Integrate TipTap. Okay, let's try this one. As I've used TipTap before. Nope. Nope. Don't need any of that. Let's do this. npm install. Boom. TipTap Vue 3. We don't care about vulnerabilities. I'll restart npm run dev here. Okay. Let's see. Integrate the editor. So let's do this. We'll put editor content into our code on the sections. Sections, edit. And we want that in the content. All right, so we'll put that here. Editor, there's going to be some settings we're going to need to put in here. So we'll see that here in just a second. So why would you use, oh, this is so nasty. Okay. That's horrible. Oh, composition. Okay, so they're giving both. Okay, good. All right. So we'll do this. Copy paste that in. Use editor content, blah blah blah. Script setup. Good grief. You gotta do everything multiple ways. Okay. Const editor. Here we go. Boom. Actually, let's move this down. Put this down here. Okay. Const use editors. Const user start kit. Starter kit. This guy we're gonna need. That's so annoying. I hate it when you copy paste from things and they add in extra junk. Okay, starter kit is there. Everybody's happy. Okay, so we're creating the editor. We're giving it some content. Although here, we're going to do initial content is, form.content. This might get ugly. We'll see. Okay, so that's there. Add it to your app. I don't think I want to do that. Okay. Let's just see what that looks like. Do 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 do. Oh, it didn't like something. Edit. Oh, there we go. Okay. This is HTML test. All right. So now we need to add all the things. Okay. So why isn't the starter kit working? That's the next question. Starter kit should be pulling in all of our buttons. Which functionality is enabled? The additional document should contain. Add your configuration. So the starter kit should be the configuration. I don't understand why that's not loading. Unless there's console, no console errors. That's interesting. All right, let's take a look at this. Configure editor and object passing. Pass an object with settings in the editor as a class shown. Yeah, that's what we did. We did that with the starter kit for extensions, right? Extensions, this guy, content, Editable true. Make the editable default is true. So why is the starter kit not working? At tip tap starter kit. Let's go back to our install. Did we miss an install step? Maybe we missed an install step. View 3. Install integrating tip tap. Maybe we do have to add it. Why would we have to add it to the app? We shouldn't have to do that. No, that's not it. Wasn't the starter kit something you skipped? No, I added the starter kit. Well, let's put Claude on it. The starter kit, the tip tap default starter kit isn't showing the, what is it called? Toolbar. Missing the toolbar because starter kit doesn't include a toolbar by default. What? It only provides the core editing functionality. You need to add custom toolbar with buttons. Here's how to fix it. Doggone it. All right. Oh, that's a good point. I found something else here. We were going to get there eventually. Here's how to fix it. Let's see. I'm missing the how to fix it part. Starter kit. Form content editor.getHTML. That's not going to fix it. Update resources page. Tip is missing a toolbar because starter kit doesn't. Well, I'm okay with this edit, but what I want, I don't think that's going to fix the starter kit. Do I have to pull in? So I guess I'm going to have to create my own extensions, which I've done before. What in the world is going on here? It's like doing it out of order. Okay. What else is it doing here? Let's see. What is this? VF editor. Whoa, dude. Whoa. No, we're not doing that. We are not doing that. I'm starting to remember now. So you have to define your toolbar, which is what it's trying to do here, but we're going to move this. So I'm going to accept this for now. Ooh. But I'm actually going to move that into a different component. Okay, so here's what it did. It created this toolbar, which, you know, we could use it here. So, like, here's the toolbar, right? I don't like putting it in here like this. So what I would do is we're going to move this guy into its own component. We're going to get rid of this. Oh, wait. Oops. What happened? What did I do? Oh, they put the editor in there. Doggone it. Come on. I'm going to put this out here. Remove that. And why would they do it that way? Hang on. So I can pass this component, I think. Well, let's do this. Actually, I'm okay with that design. So let's do this. Let's make this whole thing a we could break this down into much smaller pieces, but I do find it scary, yes. That's why unless I'm really just wanting to vibe code, I look at it all. So this will be what you see is what you get. And this will be content. Yep. I don't need that. All right, so we're gonna make a new component here. Bloop. Components. Yeah. So inside here, we're gonna create a new one. What you see is what you get. View. Template. All right, all of that is in there. Let's copy over. Sorry, I'm jumping all around. Let's copy over this. Into here. All right. And oh, we need to import some stuff from here. And all right, we need to define some props. Content. Content is an object, I believe, actually. Actually, I need to... This is not right. I'm going to have to set. So in view, I'm going to need to actually... what's the word I'm looking for? Send information back to the parent. We'll deal with that in a minute. Editor. As I read, that's fine. All right, edit. So in here, we're going to import what you see is what you get. And that's down here, already there. Content, form content. All right. Boom, look at that. Okay. Invalid prop. Okay, so I want to, how do I bind a variable from parent to child, where the variable can change on either end in view 3 with composition API. Just give me the code. State management library. Yeah, it does. I don't always. I'm not a huge fan of storing state on the client side, to be honest. Define model. I don't know if I want to use a model. Manual props emitting is what I'm thinking of. I want to admit. Define props, define emit. Okay. That's what I couldn't think of the word emit. That's what was throwing me off. Do 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 do. Model value. How do they use model value? Okay. Do, 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 do. And then down here, we would emit this. I believe. Oh, we need the actual, this guy. Boom, ba-doom. Tell me what we're actually emitting. Okay, so we're emitting an update. So just to clarify what we're doing here, we're adding an emit. Yeah, there you go. Exactly, Dan. Emit was the word I was looking for. I couldn't come up with it. So we're defining our content prop, and then we're emitting that update to that content prop here. All right, and we should be able then to pass that at input the value, update value. Value would be here. Hang on a second. Value model. Oh, I need to do model. Hang on. So it should be model content, I believe. Yeah, I could go that route too. This is what I'm familiar with though, so theoretically. Let's see. On input, on update. So on this side, I'm going to do an on update on the WYSIWYG. On update. All right, I think that's what I want. Why is this looking for input? Let's go to view. Docs, guide, events, at some event. Declaring and emitting events, in focus, emit, setup, emit, submit. How's it listen to it? Where's the listening? At some event, not once, at some event. I think update should work. Let's test it here. So on update, const handle update equals oops. Stop. Okay. Console.log updated. Do updated string. Actually, it's probably going to be an object. We'll just do any for now. Update, handle update. Whoa, stop. Down here on update this. Should this be at on update? There we go. Or is it just at update? Might be at update. We'll try it. Okay, let's see. Redo. Oh, nothing happened, so that's not good. All right, so handle update. Let's go back to our WYSIWYG. On update, emit. Let's do this. Console Editor.getHTML. Refresh. All right, so we've got content. And so that's there. So editor.html is valid. Update model content. Let's see. I'm doing something wrong with my emit. Let's see what I'm doing wrong. Let's go back to our example in here. Update value is the callback at input. Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong thing. Sorry. Here we go. At update. Oh, we need to add this to it. Okay, so model content. Doggone it. I'm an idiot. Okay, so we need to do all of this in here. Let's try this again. All right. Let's do in our edit. Let's add. Let's just do this. Okay, so we know we're getting. I spelled it wrong. We know we're getting it from there. That's good. So we're getting it in here. Excellent. Now we just need to do form.content. Can we update that? Do we have to do value? We'll try it. That seems to be working. Theoretically. Okay. Alrighty. So now here's another part of this problem. What are we using? Did we use get? We got HTML. Okay. So we're using get HTML instead of storing it as a JSON object. So that is cool, but that means here we have to use get. Well, can we just pass in HTML? It doesn't seem to be working with HTML. Let's look at TipTap. Overview. Nope, that's extensions. Configure. Well, let's go back to install. View 3. Down here, content, data, content, return, code content. Nope, not what I want to do. Looks like you can just add HTML and it should pick it up. So why isn't it? That's the next question. So in our edit, we should be passing it content form.content. And in here, oh, do we have to do model content? Probably have to do model content. Let's look at our example. Yeah, we do. Okay. All right. My bad. My bad. Here we go. Model content equals form content. Reload the page. There's our HTML. Boom. All right. So let's do this. Let's do this is point 1. This is point 2. That's interesting. There's no defining differences between these. 1, 2, 3. Ha ha ha. Something's not right. Let's save it. Come back in here. It did not save. That's a problem too. Alrighty. Well, this will be fun. What's the purpose of using template tag in Vue? That's how Vue, when you're in a single page component, That's how Vue knows which part is the HTML to be used, and then you script tags around the rest. You could also use component specific styling in there as well. So, all right. Next week we'll come back and figure out what's going on with the HTML editor, why it's not saving. I don't know if there's a. Did it try to save? Edit. Props off the. That's a get. Get post put. Okay. So response. Test again. It didn't even send it. Didn't even send the content. That's for. Interesting. Yeah, exactly, Dan. Interesting. And we got a 303 on the put. I've seen that error before. I need to go figure out what that is. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out for next week. All right. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. This project's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we go, which is exactly what happens when you've got a crazy client and you get lots of scope creep. So there you go. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Thanks for helping me out with figuring some of this stuff out. Thanks for sharing your opinions along the way. And if you're watching this later and you finally made it 2 hours in without being completely bored, welcome. Feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're watching it on YouTube. Hit the follow button if you're watching this on React. Wow. Thank you, Ming. Thank you. If you're watching this on Twitch, hit the follow button, and I will see you all most likely on Monday. And I say most likely because it is most likely. Hopefully, I will see you all on Monday, and we'll be able to talk through whatever happens, maybe over the weekend or on Monday. Just on the workday recap, and then we'll see you back here next week from 10 to 2 on Saturday for the Saturday live stream, picking up where we left off here. So anyway, have a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday. Bye.